action of proclaiming the gospel has continued to develop through the evolution of various forms from the past till nowadays. At first, the speeches of disciples of Jesus were good examples. Later, the Bible and holy paintings followed as media for spreading the teachings of the Catholic Church. In modern days, too, there is a group of people taking the role of messenger for communication in the Church. SIGNIS is an organization of Catholic faithful who are engaged in media such as TV, radio, internet, etc., with the mission of spreading the teachings of gospel through communication. Its modern mission of transmitting the good news of God is a part of social communication in the Catholic Church. In August 2014, Pope Francis made a pastoral visit to Korea, the first papal visit since that of Saint Pope John Paul II 25 years ago. His 5-day visit, which brought the gift of healing of souls to the Korean people through many overwhelming and moving moments, got the spotlight of global attention. During his visit, Pope Francis readily stood with the vulnerable people of society, comforting them by holding their hands. His touching journey and its footprints, filled with the spirit of love, were represented by various media organizations, of which SIGNIS Korea is an active group. SIGNIS Korea means Catholic Association for Communication in Korea, which is the community of Catholic faithful working in the field of communication as journalists or broadcasters. Before the beginning of SIGNIS, UNDA, the name of the previous organization of Catholic communicators from about 140 countries around the world, was officially endorsed by the Vatican in 1927. Since its start in 2001, SIGNIS Korea has continued to grow. Currently, it has about 600 members. Members of the Catholic Employees Club of MBC, one of the major broadcasting companies in Korea, hold monthly Mass at their workplace, giving time voluntarily for this in addition to their regular broadcasting work as employees of the company. This is part of their effort to achieve SIGNIS's important goal of meeting regularly to share God's Word with one another. SIGNIS Korea has held a joint assembly Mass every half year and a yearly retreat since 2003, through which it keeps trying to devise ways to communicate more effectively among its members. In addition, SIGNIS Korea is practicing a joyful companion relationship with the Catholic Journalism and Press Association in Korea, working together toward the common goal of spreading gospel, overcoming the difference of medium, namely vision and paper. Good examples of such efforts include the Catholic Journalist School and a joint pilgrimage to the holy places of Korean martyr saints. In order to accomplish its mission as messenger of gospel, SIGNIS Korea has been looking for diversified ways of communication. For example, using each member's skill in video production, it tries to broaden the path of communication through the production of serial video clips on our Catholic Church's teachings. Technical assistance in needy areas done by Catholic Employees Club of KBS is also a good case of such effort. Regular technical volunteer outreach work to help mitigate the inconvenience of people living in fringe area also become the time to share joy, bringing everyone involved to smile. Furthermore, SIGNIS Korea held SIGNIS East Asia Conference in 2013 with the title of Migrants and Media, providing the precious opportunity for understanding more deeply vulnerable people in the society. At this very moment, the spirit of devotion and service of Jesus Christ is ceaselessly being spread through the genuine communicating of members' hearts. This is the group of people who serve by spreading love through communication in the forum of our regular, strenuous places of broadcasting. SIGNIS Korea, messengers and communicators spreading the good news.
Have you heard of the miracle of HongKong? Restoring a war-torn nation to Korea, becoming one of the leading world economy nations, people call it the miracle of HongKong. Korea is also called the country of K-pop, BTS, the country of Parasite, one of the leading countries of the world's culture. SIGNIS Korea has been in charge of taking care of the ever-changing media of Korea, and by doing so, planting God's peace in the world. SIGNIS Korea represents Korea's Catholic media and its belief in violence-free, peace-oriented martyrdom roots. Over 100 years of persecutions and blood-stained scenes, these people only believed in proving their belief and faith and choosing God. At last, they finally received the freedom of religion through peace. The Korean Catholic Church built a foundation off of nothing. Also, the Korean Catholic Church has done a lot for bringing peace and freedom to Korea. 237 years of the Korean Catholic Church, a history of martyrdom and devotion. Now, SIGNIS Korea will create a new history.
SIGNIS Asia Catholic community members and everyone from around the world watching this conference via YouTube and Zoom, I heartily welcome you all to this conference. I am Anna Ji-hyun Yu, communication professional and media personality. I'm your host for this conference that started on May 12th, ends today. How was the music? How beautiful the boys and girls' voice. The song Dona Nobis Pacem, Give Us Peace. That was a song by CPBC Boys and Girls Choir, belong to CPBC. The Korean costume that boys and girls were wearing, hanbok, is just so beautiful as their voices. For the 3 days of this conference, we have addressed the theme under the bridge over the pandemic, invitation to a new Catholic communication. On the first day, we considered the orientation of the Catholic Church focused on the words of Pope Francis. And on the second day, we pondered if we connected with those who are indifferent and isolated. By sharing our experiences during the pandemic, it was a very meaningful time filled with profound messages and creative presentations as long as moving music videos. During the past 2 days, we have been blessed to be inspired by many wonderful speakers and also their supporting to this conference, such as His Eminence Cardinal Antonio Tagle, and also he is the Minister of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, and His Eminence Muangbo, Charles Muangbo, the Archbishop of Yangon, Myanmar, along with His Eminence Cardinal Andrew Yum, Archdiocese of Seoul, and also Ms. Helen Osman, the President of SIGNIS World, and many other speakers. Today, a speech from Archdiocese Alfred Zverev, the Apostolic Nuncio to South Korea, awaits on the third day and last day of the conference. The theme for today is, do we connect around? The role of the Catholic media and media professionals is to maintain networks for neighbors marginalized and isolated by the pandemic. We would like to share how we can unite with our neighbors who are isolated and alienated during the pandemic. We will ponder how people will live happily in Jesus Christ's love. And now, let's take a preview of a short video clip to get a sense of today's theme.
Desideriamo essere ascoltati? Ascoltiamo. Abbiamo bisogno di incoraggiamento? Incoraggiamo. Vogliamo che qualcuno si prenda cura di noi? Prendiamoci cura di chi non ha nessuno. Ci serve speranza per il domani? Doniamo speranza oggi. Oggi assistiamo a una tragica carestia della speranza.
Because of COVID-19, the world faced socio-economic, ecological, and political crises. This crisis brought about harsh times, especially for the poor. Within many difficulties that have deeply affected our daily lives, such as mass layoffs, most marginalized neighbors of ours were particularly hit hard, paying a greater price than they already are. The World Bank announced last June that 100 million people are suffering from extreme poverty and that more than 200 million have lost their jobs due to the pandemic. Although collective immunization is becoming viable thanks to COVID vaccinations, the imbalance of vaccine supply is becoming another factor of social inequality. While developed countries are bulk buying vaccines in numbers several times greater than the population of their countries, it is near impossible for the poor countries to even gain access to the vaccines. The world is more and more connected online, but is leaving more and more people isolated and excluded from interactions and communication among members of society. Some raise concerns that online contact might increase the systemic risk of widening the gap between the rich and the poor. And the Catholic Church has to respond to the diverse changes and challenges brought on by the pandemic. However, this crisis also provides an opportunity to reflect on how strongly Christians have sympathized with the sufferings of the world, and whether we were willing to sacrifice ourselves for others in critical situations. Pope Francis also provided advice on the kinds of intentions that Christians should live by in the midst of this crisis.
In questo momento storico segnato dalla crisi ecologica e da gravi squilibri economici e sociali aggravati dalla pandemia del coronavirus, abbiamo più che mai bisogno di fraternità. Una fraternità basata sull'amore reale, capace di incontrare l'altro diverso da me, di compatire le sue sofferenze, di avvicinarsi e prendersene cura anche se non è della mia famiglia, della mia etnia, della mia religione. È diverso da me, ma è figlio di Dio, è mio fratello, è la mia sorella. E questo vale anche nei rapporti tra i popoli e le nazioni, fratelli tutti.
Also, during the Holy Mass on the 4th World Day of the Poor, held last November, Pope Francis urged Catholics around the world to care for thousands of people living below the poverty line. He reminded us we must not forget that our poor neighbors are at the center of the gospel. Without them, we will never fully understand the true meaning of the gospel. Some of our neighbors are going through greater isolation and exclusion during this pandemic. What roles can Catholic communicators play in order to connect with them? It is also an era where logistic limitations for religious activities are non-existent. Together, let us explore ways to cooperate among Asian churches that will lead the way for proclaiming the gospel and practicing love.
Yes, Pope's message says to us again, we have to look around our neighbors. Maybe that's why today we have to think about, as yesterday we addressed, if we are connected, our neighbors, and also how we connect. We're going to have more answers to that throughout our conference today. The conference is live streaming on CPBC YouTube, both in English and in Korean. Everyone from around the world watching this conference is welcome to join through your chatting to our chat box. You may send your opinions and comments and even questions if you might have. You may feel free to send it. And also you may send the link to other people who are relevant to this conference and this theme. So this conference will be running for about 2 hours from now. Now I kindly invite Ms. Lisa Bazan for her keynote speech. Ms. Bazan is the station manager of Trinity TV, the president of the SIGNIS Caribbean, and the director of SIGNIS ALC. I deeply thank you for her the joining to this conference, and she is involved in many aspects. She is also the jury of the competition too. So we are so excited to hear her speech. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Still early in the morning?
Yes, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, I deeply thank you for your joining, especially all in the morning, 3 days in a row. Yeah, Miss Bajan will deliver the keynote speech titled by A Lifeline of Faith, Hope, and Charity during the COVID-19.
Okay, well, I bring you warm greetings from the Caribbean and from SIGNIS Caribbean. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this exciting initiative. Over the past 2 days, and again today, later today, you have really showcased the hard work that you have done over the last year and a half. And to me, there is no one winner. Congratulations to all of you. On this very first day, on the first day of this conference, we heard Francis Kim speak about our connection with each other under the deep blue ocean through the continental shelf. But before I show you the video that I've prepared, I would like to leave you with this thought. We are all also connected by the waters of the ocean that move around the islands and the continents. As Cardinal Tagle said, the pandemic has affected us all, and so we are all pretty much in the same boat. You know, the church has often been symbolized as a boat, but we are all right now sailing in that same boat. We have seen from all of your presentations and the sharings that the church's response in so many countries has been very similar. Keep the crew healthy and happy. Make sure that they can still all attend Mass online, offer them counseling, try and stay afloat, and most of all, offer a lifeline to those who are struggling to keep their heads above the water. Like many of you, this has been the experience of Trinity TV. Thank you for allowing me to share, and I hope that you will enjoy my video. Most people, when they hear about the Caribbean, think paradise, white sandy beaches, sunshine and music. There's the famous reggae music from Jamaica. But those typical calypso steel band rhythms that people always associate with the Caribbean, which you probably are imagining that you're hearing in the background right now, well, that originated right here in Trinidad. We are known for calypso and soca music. The steel pan was actually invented here. You know, the Caribbean archipelago actually consists of about 7,000 islands with 26 separate countries. Most people don't realize that each country is independent and is very unique. The Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is the 6th largest nation. We are really very special because we are called after the Blessed Trinity. And today, I'm here to share with you about our cable television station, Trinity TV. As you probably know, the Caribbean islands were colonized and have been juggled back and forth in disputes and change of governance by the Spanish, English, Dutch and French, with some Portuguese in between, and of course with slavery and indentureship tossed into the middle of it all. The result, especially for our little twin islands of Trinidad and Tobago, is that a beautiful rainbow people evolved, expressing ourselves through creative carnival canvases and giving birth to great writers, actors, poets, artists, musicians, and television producers. Over the years, the technological world naturally also crafted its way into the lives of us Trinbagonians. As cable television was introduced in the late 1900s, a new kind of colonization began creeping into our lives. The influence of the Western world, with its so-called free thinking, found parents struggling to censor what their kids were being exposed to. Values and virtues were changing, and a new freedom to choose from a whole different palette of colors. unfortunately, some of which were quite murky. It was around this time that Pope John Paul the Great called on Catholics to become a clarion voice and shout the gospel message from the rooftops. 1993, Living Water Community, a lay ecclesial movement in Trinidad, responded to that call and began the communications ministry called Trinity Television. Back then, we were producing 2 or 3 shows a week, dropping them off on VHS tapes to the cable stations. Imagine, it was 20 years down the road in 2013, now in the era of DVDs and mini DV tapes. We were finally granted a cable channel license by our government, and we launched Trinity TV, that you may have life, a Catholic 24/7 cable TV station, and we now broadcast in several of the other Caribbean islands.
A new day has dawned, and the waters of life are joyfully proclaiming the good news of Christ. All across this land the message flows as it meanders through the lush valleys and plains from the mountains high. This is Trinity TV, part of the Trinity Communication Network. Trinity TV, celebrating live daily and Sunday masses from the Living Water Community Chapel. Programs on spirituality, social justice issues, youth challenges, and enriching family life. Programs from around the world, the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Come journey with us from near and far. Come journey through the corridors of life, creating an environment of love and spiritual growth. Come journey with us, giving a voice to the poor and marginalized. Come journey with us, and let the waters of life fill you with good news. Trinity TV, that you may have life.
So let's fast forward 7 years later. We may wonder, was it 2020 vision? Certainly not from our human eyes. None of us had any idea what we would be facing in 2020. This pandemic certainly was unexpected. But somehow, we at Trinity TV felt we had been prepared. It was not our 2020 vision, but definitely the foresight of a God who knows all and walks ahead of us to prepare the path with his perfect vision. Because when the church doors were closed and people could not gather, who was ready for that? Well, in a way, Trinity TV was. We were able to send a crew every morning to Archbishop's house to record Mass and to show it to the whole church. It was, in fact, the only Mass that the Archdiocese was able to watch. When the numbers increased to 5 persons allowed in a space, we began live Mass from our own Living Water Community Chapel, and the Archbishop presided each day. We had already converted the chapel into a media-friendly space with robotic cameras installed, and we were already streaming to our website, onto Facebook, and so on. So everything was already in place. Daily Mass was on our website, and the Archbishop was able to shepherd his flock through the desert of Lent and Holy Week, and to bring hope in the resurrection of Easter. When the cathedral opened back up, and still limited space, limited amount of people were allowed, but Trinity TV was there, and we were still able to broadcast the Masses to those who could not attend. And so, with all eyeballs on our screens, we became the lifeline, keeping the faith alive and uniting the Caribbean Catholic faithful, both at home and abroad. During the crucial lockdown period when the parishes were all closed, parish priests began to feel very disconnected from their parishioners. We started a show called #WeAreHere, hosted by parish priests who were live on the set. We opened up the phone lines so that they could connect and bring inspiration and hope to their parishioners. And it became quite emotional at times, so people could actually talk to Father, their parish priest. When communities could not gather in large groups and were unable to offer their annual conferences and events, in many cases, Trinity TV was called upon to assist them with technical support so that they could be offered virtually and on cable TV. For example, the Non-Violence Group held a 7-part series called Coping in COVID Times. Now that we have experienced an entire year or more of dealing with virtual seminars, it may seem commonplace, but in the beginning, for many in the church, it was very daunting. It still is for some. And this TV seminar seeks to explore different ways that COVID-19 initiatives that different communities and groups were able to initiate. But I would like to take a little time now to focus on how we were able to handle some of these virtual conferences.
The role of Catholic television has never been quite so relevant as in the past year. The pandemic has familiarized us all with online tools like FaceTime, Zoom, Skype, StreamYard, Google Meet, GoToMeetings. They all help us stay connected. But for those who have been accustomed to holding events and seminars that rely on physical presence and participation, the option of utilizing television has presented a new alternative for consideration. Giving a presentation virtually with a newly accepted grid view has its limitations on an audiovisual level. Although it does have the benefit of wider participation, people are beginning to experience Zoom fatigue and are seeking new solutions from those who have really been in the business. Trinity TV has found itself having to play an integral role as part of events planning committees and technical advisory teams, offering new ideas and often having to diplomatically get persons to shift their original paradigms, moving them outside the analog box and into a new HD flat screen mindset. For example, in May 2020, while still in a partial lockdown, the Charismatic Renewal called on Trinity TV to assist them in engaging persons in a Holy Spirit novena leading up to Pentecost. They called on different communities to participate, whilst the nuncio and archbishop were invited to give the inspirational teachings. Everything had to be pre-taped at well-sanitized locations, and the files were sent digitally to Trinity TV's editor. Pentecost Mass was live with limited cameras at the cathedral, and priests can celebrated with their own parishes linking in through Zoom. Again in October, another challenge was put forward to Trinity's team. The People of Praise community was seeking to offer their annual Sound the Trumpet 3-day conference. Normally, this conference is well attended and anticipated. So how could they get the best participation with all the restrictions of the pandemic? A hybrid production was developed, a combination of pre-taped praise and worship, live hosting from Trinity TV's studio, and private Zoom breakout groups for pre-registered workshops. Encouraged by the success of its conference, this same community produced a Gospelipso concert. Even though Carnival 2021 was cancelled, the talented members of this group were still given the opportunity to perform their calypso, soca and raga compositions. It was pre-taped, edited and broadcast on Trinity TV's network. One of the landmarks of our Universal Church is her ability to celebrate specially chosen days across the globe. Pope Francis marked the 33rd Sunday of Ordinary Time as the World Day of the Poor. The Catholic Commission for Social Justice used the cable TV platform to extend this message to stretch forth your hand to the poor. The speakers were pre-taped at our chapel, and then cover shots were added in editing. As Trinity TV serves the wider community, it is also called upon to assist its own mother community, of which it is the communications ministry. Living Water Community's outreach and evangelization through the digital media has been paramount to providing spiritual food for thousands across the globe, and especially during this terrible COVID-19 period. Its weekly Wednesday night prayer meeting is the most watched show on this cable station. During the pandemic, Living Water Community offered a Life in the Spirit seminar virtually via Facebook, and there were 70 participants from different countries around the world. Finding new and innovative solutions and exploring different ways to continue serving the body of Christ has been at the heart of this television media. While the pandemic may have closed borders and locked down cities, it has opened up many avenues for exploring the imagination. There is no limit to creative video and television production ideas. We just have to open the windows and look outside.
Trinity TV is a ministry of Living Water Community, which is a non-profit organization. Over the years, we have been totally dependent on fundraising and on the generous support of sponsors and donors. One of the community's evangelizing tools and also a great income generator has been the organizing of pilgrimages to holy places. Well, since borders are closed, this has not been possible. However, some of the pilgrims over the years have taken some really beautiful photos of these holy spaces. So Trinity TV collected some of these and created a nostalgic series of short fillers called Moments, the Pilgrim's Album. Here's a quick look at one of those. Every year, we hold a week-long Trinity Telethon, which assists in sustaining our ministry financially. We would usually start with a 6-hour huge live concert with back-to-back performances and an audience in our big hall. But with COVID restraints, we had to find a new way to hold this important fundraiser so that our ministry could stay alive. We created an attractive set in our studio, and we limited the performers to solos and duets, no large groups. And we pre-taped all of the artists. Then on the actual days of the virtual telethon, we had the hosts in the studio live inviting pledges. So it was a combination. Here's a short sampling of that production.
Welcome, sisters and brothers. Welcome to the final night of our Trinity Telethon 2020 virtual telethon. A telethon with a little different twist. And we praise God for the wonderful week that we have had together. We come as a lifeline to you, Trinity Television, your lifeline during this pandemic time.
Let this be our prayer when shadows fill our days. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. I know you, I love you, I gave my life to save you. Love paid the price for mercy. My verdict, not guilty. You are safely by your side. We are unity. You are my energy, my guiding light. We are unity.
You know what I realized during COVID in particular, we saw the church come alive in a different way. You know, so we weren't able to congregate, but we had the church come alive with distribution of food, etc. And Trinity TV showed us that as well. You know,
That's right.
came to us and gave us what we were missing physically, but gave us what we needed spiritually.
Praise God, isn't that beautiful?
I've shared with you so far how viewers have seen Trinity TV as their lifeline during this difficult time. So many have received food for their souls. But in a very tangible way, we have also been able to actually feed many people food for their bodies. We have all witnessed the economic effects of the pandemic and its enormous impact on the inability of families to sustain themselves, to provide for their children, to buy groceries, etc. The main ministry of Living Water Community has always been serving the poor and the underprivileged, assisting migrants and refugees. But the increase in numbers pleading for help during this time was becoming quite overbearing. Through Trinity TV, pleas for support went out to the viewing public. The response was incredible. Truckloads of charitable supplies and donations landed at the doors of our center. Volunteers turned up to pack and distribute hampers. The community was able to give out food parcels every week to thousands who lined up in the streets from the night before, rain or shine. I've been explaining to you all along that Trinity TV is a communications ministry of Living Water Community, but I'm not sure if it's really sunk in what that actually means. Our work at Trinity TV is ministry. We are not a competitive, commercial, or technically sophisticated enterprise. We are committed to the vision of bringing life to others through Christian service and outreach. We challenge ourselves to be as creative as we can with the very limited resources that we have, and we leave the rest to the Holy Spirit. In closing, allow me to share with you my personal dream for Catholic TV producers. Just as the stained glass masters, like we've seen in the Renaissance and so on, fresco artists and sculptors sought to bring the scriptures alive through art and imagination, through using their talents to glorify God. We too need to find ways of using the camera lens, the editing skills, our audiovisual effects as tools for influencing spiritual growth and conversion. We need to create digital cathedrals.
Thank you very much, Riza Bajan. It was a very inspiring message. Let's give her a big round of applause. Very inspiring message with full of hope. Especially, I deeply thank you for you to introducing what Trinity TV has made so far, especially in the limited circumstances and resources. Among her great messages, this tells us we are committed to our vision of bringing life to others through Christian services and outreach. I think this tells us what we can seek out more to do in the limited resources and circumstances. I deeply thanks to her great keynote speech and especially her passionate engagement and support to the conference in SIGNIS Asia. Now you are watching the SIGNIS Asia TV live stream on CPBC YouTube, both in English and in Korean. Show us your love and interest by sending some comments and opinions to live chat box. Also, if you visit Catholic Korea CPBC on YouTube, you can access many other CPBC programs. Now we will start with the presentations. We have 12 presenters from 11 countries throughout the conference. So far, we heard until yesterday, we heard 8 presentations, and now 4 are left for today. The 3 juries are fairly evaluating the presentations based on the 4 criteria. Creativity, originality, that will be counted 30 points. Message content, 40 points. Technical production, 20 points. And presentation, 10 points. Let's say, yes, we can see all 3 juries on Zoom. Let's say hello to them first. Mr. Augustine Antuban and Mr. Romulus Lee from CPBC and Ms. Riza Bajan from Trinidad that she just gave a great keynote speech. At the end of the conference today, 1 presenter will be awarded with a prize of $500 in cash and trophy. Dear audience, you may participate in this selection. Tell us which presentations you like. Maybe your selection on is not gonna influence to the final decision, but the selection or the courses of the selection, it'll be a good way to be engaged. The presenters will share their productions that will be about the 3 minutes of production, and also presentation will be followed lasting about for 7 minutes. When there is 1 minute remaining, we're gonna give you some sign to let you know it's time to wrap up the presentation, because we are aiming for running this conference for 2 hours. So I'd like to ask you to aim finish it on time. Now, section 4 is about the efforts to connect the isolated, the roles of the Catholic media. Section 4 will begin with Mr. Asher Jabais. His special presentation. Mr. Jabais is the CEO of the National Catholic Education Commission in Pakistan. He will talk about COVID-19, new learning for the Catholic education system.
Much SIGNIS TV Asia for giving me a chance to present from Pakistan and I am going to share my experiences in Pakistan due to the COVID-19. We have schools here, and basically I belong to education, and I am heading the education department of Catholic Church. So that is why I'll be more talking about with reference to the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on education, on our schools. So I am going to share my presentation with you all, and I'll try to just complete it in the 10 minutes. So I have to share my screen for my presentation.
Right? You may go on. You
Yeah,
may go on
yeah.
your presentation.
Okay. So basically, National Education Commission is commissioned Catholic Bishops Conference of Pakistan, and it has been working for the Catholic schools in Pakistan. Together, we have 355 schools in Pakistan, Catholic schools in Pakistan. But before coming to the schools, let me tell you about the background of the education, Catholic education in Pakistan. So in 1947, when Pakistan came into being, so at that time there were lots of Catholic schools were working already. So these schools came into the Pakistan with the existence of Pakistan, and then as Pakistan is an Islamic Republic of Pakistan, so that is why the ideology is basically we have to change our few of the things with respect to the ideology of the country. Right now, we have 7 dioceses in Pakistan, out of which is 2 dioceses are archdioceses of Pakistan. Altogether, 96% of the population is Muslim, and Christians are only 1.5%. From 1.5%, more than 1 million are the Catholic Christians. And these Catholic Christians are scattered throughout Pakistan. Archdiocese of Karachi and Archdiocese of Lahore are the most densely populated with respect to the. Now, for each diocese, we have a board, which is called a Catholic Board of Education, and that board is responsible for the looking after of all the schools located in the diocese. And these 7 dioceses, so there are 7 Catholic boards. So these 7 Catholic boards are by a national office, that is us, which is National Catholic Education Commission. So we collect reports, we look after schools, we look after the Catholic boards of educations, and we provide them the financial assistance and all other sports. So the thing is that as the pandemic hit the country, it was last year February when the first case was reported in Pakistan. And by the mid of March, all the schools were forced to close by the government of Pakistan. And as we have 355 schools, and out of those 355 schools, 25% schools are, only 25% schools are contributing schools. Contributing schools means they generate some income. And we have a Robin Hood system here in Pakistan for the Catholic schools, means the earning schools, they earn money and we distribute, we support, subsidize our rest of the schools. So when the pandemic came and it hit the country, so all the businesses all closed and the income of the people was reduced, and due to that reduced income they were unable to pay the fee, and due to which there was a financial crisis strongly hit the country. And that financial crisis not only hit the country's economy but also to the Catholic education. Our 75%, more than 75% schools were dependent on the schools were only 25%, and they were generating the money. So that is why the teachers serving in those schools and the students studying in those schools have to suffer, because our poor schools, they did not have facilities to continue with the online classes or with Zoom or with internet connectivity. Some of the schools are in far-flung village areas. That is why they were not able to get the internet connection. So then we had to think out of the box. We have to see that how to manage this. Then we planned and we thought that how to deal with it. And then we thought that, okay, where internet is not available, maybe we can stick to the conference, voice calls, and where internet is available, there we can have Zoom meetings and we can have the Skype meetings, whatever the platform is available, we try to use. And I am pleased to tell you that it was so sudden for our teachers that they were not aware of these online platforms, usage of these online platforms. But here they came up to the challenge and they started teaching the students online through voice calls, through conference calls, through different online platforms. And throughout, in all the dioceses, Catholic schools are teaching, and the students, they are studying through online classes or through voice calls, or already told that where the online facility is not available, the students are called in person in limited numbers close to the school, in church premises, or in we days to manage this pandemic, the after effects of this pandemic. And thank God, now the things are on the move. Schools are still closed, and due to the pandemic, still it is thought that by 23rd of May the school will not be opened by the government. But we have another platforms, alternative platforms to be used for the education system. And the other thing is that for us it was a totally new thing, and teachers, they were not used to of these online classes and use of these online platforms, but they adapted very well to paradigm shift. Now they are happily using all this, and now we are in a process, because this has given us an idea. So we are in a process to generate an LMS for our schools. LMS means learning management systems. Through that system, the teachers, the students, they can share their teaching and learning with each other. And then the other thing is that we are trying to shift all our processes, school processes, to the online platforms. So sometimes, we can call it a blessing in disguise, because, with this pandemic, the after effects are very bad. The schools are suffering, but it has forced us to think beyond the boxes, think out of the box, for alternate approaches for the team. And now, the with these alternative approaches, is when the schools will be open, hopefully, because the vaccination is government is providing vaccination to all, and we are positively thinking that by June the vaccination will be started in the schools 12 years above. So with the opening of schools, now we have, along with face-to-face classes, we will have so many other opportunities, that there will be option for the teachers and for the students. And I believe that we will be able to do more effective work in education, because now we have different approaches on our hand. Previously, it was only face to face, but now we have online and other different things on our hand. Then the most important thing which I want to share here, that during this pandemic, we have to think for the training of our teachers as well, because teachers were the main force behind all this exercise. So what we did, we arranged special classes, online classes for our teachers, and those classes were through different online platforms. Teachers, initially it was very difficult for them, because it was, as they used to of it, now they are very comfortable all this challenges. There are places when we face the connectivities, but all these challenges, we are moving ahead. With all this, the contribution, the biggest support came from our partners. We have different partners like British Council, have Bank of Pakistan, then Federal Ministry of Education. All these departments and our came together, and they helped us a lot during this pandemic. Of Pakistan, they recognized our efforts. Our efforts, and they involved us, and they invited us to formulate the new curriculum for the. So now, I am proudly sharing with you all that National Catholic Education Commission of Pakistan, the teachers, they are involved in the curriculum formation. We are designing curriculum along with government for our students. So these are the success which we, in spite of the COVID, in spite of the pandemic, we were able. Not easy. Thinking for all of this, then we thought that maybe it is an end. But thank God to our bishops conference. They were at our back, and they supported us a lot, and they encouraged us. So these are few of the things we wanted here. I requested Kim that I won't be joining as a competitor, but I would be happily share the successes of Catholic education in Pakistan, because I feel that with these successes, and with these strategies, out of box thinking, we can achieve a lot. So this is all from my side. And thank you very much, the team of SIGNIS Asia, that you provided me the chance that I may share the success of our Catholic education system with you all here. Thank you very much.
Advice, your presentation about COVID-19, new learning for the Catholic education system. I think, as Mr. Aisha Jabais stated, especially the majority is Muslims in Pakistan. That's why I think the role of Catholic and media communication is even more critical in Pakistan. In that regard, especially the new educational system and strategy from the Catholic community is very important. And I feel so sorry your great PowerPoint work is not supportive today. So you made a great job on your PowerPoint, but I feel sorry that we couldn't share. But still, among your great messages, the new system and the strategy from the Pakistan Catholic community in terms of the educational system, we could fully understand, and I wish you the best of the luck to your educational system. Thank you so much. And next up is Mr. Paulo Antonio Barba Bedionet, the President and CEO of the EI2 Technology Corporation from the Philippines. Mr. Bedionet will talk about learning continuity during the pandemic using television and online platforms as a medium for video lessons.
It all started with one simple vision.
We have television in cases where there is no connectivity and printed materials may not be available immediately, and this would be television.
The nationwide search for teacher broadcasters was immediately put into motion, and 4,000 teachers from all over the Philippines heeded the call.
Manood, makinig, at matuto sa asignaturang Filipino. Ako ang inyong nanay guro, Kinenjoy Herbacio Salazar.
Ako si Sir Carlo, ang teacher for Illinois, nakabarkada mo na, kalakbay mo pa.
197 teacher broadcasters were selected nationwide. "17 veteran broadcast journalists from the industry helped in mentoring the teachers. The Department of Education targets to produce 520 episodes a month across 13 grade levels.
Ako si Teacher Levin, ang inyong guro sa kindergarten. Sama-sama tayong matuto sa edukasyon sa pagpapakatao sa unang baitang.
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat, lalong-lalo na sa mga mag-aaral sa ikalawang baitang.
Tayo nang matuto, Filipino sa ikatlong baitang.
Hello, young scientists! Welcome to Science 4.
Kumusta mga mag-aaral ng baitang 5?
Hello, grade 6.
I am Ma'am Con, your grade 7 science teacher.
Narito ang Filipino sa baitang 8, ang panitikang pambansa.
Allow me to guide you in learning the different skills and concepts in Mathematics 9.
Magandang wika at maalab na panitikan muli sa ating lahat, grade 10.
This is Teacher Rev, your grade 11 math teacher, your guide to an exciting and amazing math venture.
This segment is for grade 12 students who are studying physical science.
To start with ourselves. There is life beyond modules. There is death at radio. There is death at TV.
Delivering free education to a minimum of 14 million Filipino learners. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. So once again, my name is Paulo Bediones, and I am the founder of EI2 Tech, which is a media education and technology company that has forged a partnership with the Department of Education here in the Philippines to make sure that no matter what, education continues. As you saw in the video, the first part showed the Department of Education Secretary, Leonor Magtolias Briones, talking to the President of the Philippines and saying that face-to-face classes will not continue. We need to find alternatives. So I'm going to share my screen right now, but the host disabled participant screen sharing at this point. So can I request for a permission to share my screen? It says it's disabled. Okay, so here we go. I have a better slide, but I'll use this anyway. So how and when did the idea of DepEd TV come about? As you can see, face-to-face classes were not allowed. So the Department of Education had to come up with a solution. And right now, at that point in time, the best solution really was to come up with modalities wherein education will continue no matter what. So basically, there were 4 modalities. There is the modular, there is the online, there's television, and there's radio-based instruction. So what we're going to be talking about right now will be television as a means of instruction. Next slide, please. So the situation in the Philippines at that point in time, again, students could not go to class, and at the same time, they could not go to church either. Because churches were very limited in terms of the number of people that could come in. And it was very difficult to be able to come up with, online platforms. The adapting of this technology was very, very difficult. And there was a learning curve that a lot of people had to overcome. Now, really, the vision was to create a sustainable training program that would be a vital tool during pandemics and disasters where education cannot stop. Now, it's very important that we note that the Department of Education's values include 4 things. The first is called Makadiyos. In English, that's God-centered and God-fearing. Next is Makatao, which means compassion for humanity. Then you have Makabansa, which is patriotic, and Makakalikasan, wherein you are a lover or protector of nature. Now, I'll expand this further to Catholic social teaching, wherein we want to make sure that whatever happens, what is taught using television as a medium will include also the life and dignity of the human person. It includes rights and responsibilities, lessons on preferential option for the poor, lessons for the dignity of work and the rights of workers, as well as solidarity and the care for God's creation. So as you can see, the vision of the Department of Education is very much aligned with the Catholic social teachings. Next slide, please. Now, we had to come up with a very, very unique role for television. This was an opportunity to press a big reset button because, as we know, television, the children, they're exposed to a lot of not so positive content on television, online, right? So this was an opportunity to actually press a reset button to come up with content that was educational, inspiring, informative, and entertaining as well. Now, next slide, please. Now we look at television and let's focus on that, on how we can use television as a medium for instruction in the midst of the pandemic. Next slide, please. Okay, we can go to the next slide as well. Thank you. The next slide. I mentioned this already. So we had to make sure that we come up with a training program that is sustainable, wherein the teacher broadcasters, who are the public school teachers all over the country, will undergo training, a holistic training, to make sure that they will be comfortable in front of the camera and imparting their television lessons. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. So to date, we call this unprecedented. Why? Because to date, we have over 600 teacher broadcasters who've been trained and are now able to produce 20-minute professionally edited episodes with their respective teams. At this point in time, almost 2,000 episodes have aired on television since the start of the program. And then immediately, these are put together with our dozen channel, cable, satellite, and online platforms. We put them on YouTube. We put them on DepEd Commons, which is the repository of all educational sources for the Department of Education, which students, learners, teachers, and parents can access for free. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we call this really a true blessing. Why? Because despite the pandemic, we were able to allow education to continue. Now, the video lessons we produce, that is for all the grade levels and all the subjects. So you can imagine the volume of lessons that we have to produce. But this wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have channel partners willing to give us their airtime. And we're talking about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day, Monday to Saturday, just airing all of those lessons. Now, it's really important when we train our teachers that we tell them Catholic social teaching, please adhere to that, put that into your video lessons. So we now have 600 teacher broadcasters who are equipped, empowered, and enabled to adjust to any mode of instruction. And even when face-to-face classes resume, they are now skilled to be able to instruct in this manner. We've employed more than 400 producers, video editors, graphics artists, and illustrators. These people lost their livelihood because of the pandemic, but because of this project, we were able to bring them in and give them work. And lastly, 14 million Filipino learners will continue to benefit from the free television lessons in the safety of their homes, which, again, these lessons will be readily available and accessible anytime online, even after the pandemic. And most importantly, they embrace positive Catholic social teaching, as well as the values that they need to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo Antonio Barba Benediones. Actually, Mr. Benediones is the last competitor of our competition. So dear audience and jury, think about what he has done right and better, or if his presentation is your preference, think about that. He talked about learning continuity during the pandemic using television and online platforms as a medium for video lessons. Among many of his messages, I like this. No matter what, education continues. Yes, no matter what, education continues. But the matter is what we teach, how we teach. But in this sense, what he and his company is doing using advanced technology, I think that's are on the right path, especially in these circumstances. All right, thank you, Mr. Benediones. We'll wait for the next presenter soon. Now we have another special presenter for the section 4, Mr. Suman Gail from the SIGNIS Asia TV desk in Nepal. Suman Gail is a graduate student of St. Xavier's College of Matigar in Nepal. So maybe I expect to have something different perspective as a student from Mr. Gale. And also he's the secretary of SIGNIS Asia TV desk. He will talk about Saman Anurag, pandemic, an opportunity to be with oneself and others.
Hello guys, am I audible to you? Okay, can I have my PowerPoint or shall I share it with you?
Yeah, you may start your subject.
Yeah, shall I have my PPT slides or I'm trying to share? Okay, I will share them.
Okay.
Okay, greetings to everyone. I have presented this topic Samay Anurag. It's Nepali word, so Samay means time and Anurag it's the attachment we have with our people around and with nature and with God. So it's my honor and privilege to be with you and share my experience and learning during pandemic. Other time of pandemic has been an unexpected moment for every single human being, and they were at first curious to spend their time locked in a room. They were secluded from the world of physical communications, and they were chained only through online platforms. So this sort of situation was really a moment of loneliness that we all went through. However, the first 1 week of pandemic period was amazing. It was heavenly for me. I kept myself detached from all the worries of work and other worries regarding my academics. I slept for more than 10 hours a day. It was awesome. It was euphoric. 1 week passed by, but gradually my days began to threaten my happiness. Those euphoric moments transformed into nightmares. I had buried I started to hit every bit of content on YouTube. I didn't enjoy scrolling the pages of Facebook and Instagram. I was furious. I started hating myself more. In such case, gradually I started to reflect on my daily dreams. I meditate on things that were not going well with me. At first, I separated my times that to be spent on social communication, family life, and my
Hello?
academic.
Hello? Hello, Suman?
Yes?
Suman, your PowerPoint, it looks great, but I'd like to hear more clearly. So would you please just speak a little bit louder?
Okay.
Thank you for your cooperation. Yeah, please just speak a little bit louder.
Okay. Okay, am I loud enough now?
Not that better. So, yeah, would you please just speak louder?
Sorry, I am having some issues with my speaker. Let me just check once.
We can hear your voice clearly.
Oh, then it's all right now.
It's better. It's a little better now.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
please just start it over.
Okay. So I spent my 1 week of pandemic period in like it was great. It was amazing. No, I kept myself detached from all the worries of work and other worries regarding my academics. So 1 week passed by. Gradually, my days began to threaten my happiness. I was happy during the first week of pandemic. Those euphoric moments I spent during the first week of pandemic transformed into nightmares. I had buried eggs. I started to hate every bit of content on YouTube. I didn't enjoy scrolling the pages of Facebook and Instagram. I was furious. I started to hating myself more. So in such case, gradually I started to reflect on my daily grinds. So I meditate on things that were not going well with me. At first, I separated my time that to be spent on social communication, my time with family, and my academics. When I shifted my moments in various activities, I started to enjoy doing my work, so I found things more beautiful than ever. On the other hand, social distancing were also striking people's mind. People began to feel like someone has disturbed their sleep and snatched their happiness from them forcefully. They were in search of different ways to make them comfortable to fight with this crisis of pandemic, the COVID-19. Some people even had so much of mental disturbances. Instant news on COVID crisis in social media platforms struck the minds of people, which forced the government of Nepal to ban some of the news agencies from publishing a daily news on COVID crisis. But provided me the opportunity to be with myself, God, nature, and people around me. I had enough time to reflect upon my true self and my relationship with God, nature, and people. Although the world was living in fear of crisis, I found my ways to live every moment of my life joyfully. God lives with us in every moment and helps us in our trial moments. I had that faith. The moment I started to live with myself, I found a space to be real me and entangle my embodied self with others. I got to know more of me, which generated my self love and love for others. Human minds are preoccupied with various thoughts and worries regarding their future, their study, and their family. They do not have time for themselves. They do not have time to sit for a while and sneer at the grandeurs of God. God has made this universe so beautiful and filled this earth with so much of good things, but people do not have time to sit for a while and show their gratitude towards God, our creator. Human world has so many things to be thankful for, or they can be thankful for their life, their family, their health, people they meet every day, people who make them laugh, people who have accompanied them for a while in their journey, their teacher, and their children. They have many reasons to be thankful for. There are bad things happening around, but more importantly, there are thousands and millions of good things happening every day. The air you breathe, water you drink, food you eat, parents you smile at, and children you laugh at with make us all social beings. Our society keeps us all connected with one another. So whatever comes, we all should live for one another. Difficult moments are there only to make you alive, only to strengthen you and your minds to accept the happy moments that await you behind those walls of darkened night. The bright daylight awaits you to guard your day. With this belief, I live my every moment with full ecstasy. There were moments when I felt downcasted. I lost my hope, but stood again and faced the challenges. I do not say that I had only good moments during the pandemics. I also went through difficult times. I lived the moments of loneliness, but in every moment of hardship, I saw an opportunity to be more me. I saw a light that guided me through those tough times. At the end, I was like, oh, yeah, I did it. I have come this far. Pandemic happened to be a time for me to reflect upon myself, my real self. I got to know more of me. I had enough time to explore the horizons of this new me. Nature gives us hope in our times of despair. When everything seems not to work in our favor, nature does. It embraces us with love and cares for our needs. In my times of despair and loneliness, nature stood for me. I lay down on its lap to forget my painful moments. One day I was conversating with my grandpa. I was in the village, so he's a simple man. He looks after the cattle. I grew up with him. I was always inspired by his words and the way of his living. When I asked him why he spent his entire lifetime taking care of those animals, I was surprised and overwhelmed by his words. He said that humans are considered social and superior beings. Being a superior being, we should always take care of things that are given to us in our care. We are from nature and we will end it with it. Only thing that matters the most is you should find happiness in your doings. I think that's the most important thing we all should be taken care of. We should enjoy doing things that are summoned to us in our care. Most of us think digital world is our only and ultimate dream that fosters our future, but it should not be one and ultimate dream to give our everything for it. Your relationship with your family should always be strengthened. People you live with, people you share your happiness and worries with, should always be in your prayer list. If you cannot make your family happy with your presence, only thing will be left for you is despair and hope. During the pandemic, the workshops organized by Pax Romana Asia Pacific happened to be the best ways to keep myself busy with. People from different parts of Asia Pacific shared their knowledge and experiences, which helped me fostering my world of understanding regarding their culture, their power relations, and many more. I spend most of my time during pandemic period in my birthplace. It's a remote area far from noise and pollutions of city areas. Most of the people are farmers, so do my family. They work hard to plant the Mother Earth. So working in those terrains helped me find myself more attached with planet Earth.
Mr.
Stepping on
Shumangeo?
Earth.
Shumangeo?
Yes.
Yes, I'm so sorry to say this. You have running out your time.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah, but so far you delivered the great message, especially what's the value in this time during the pandemic. Maybe the continuity to find the best value, the one way to the other. Maybe this is, as you mentioned, a great opportunity to be with oneself and others. Especially, I like that message. We have become closer to God, nature, and people. That reflects and that reminds me of humanity. And also, I have to excuse all of you, the audience, on comparable connectivity, the internet of internet access, because we are online across the continent yesterday and from throughout this conference. This is the first time to using mixed media online conference across the continent, across the world, and the quality and the situation of the internet access is not the same in the world. So please excuse us about uncomfortable the connectivity. But from that experience, that gives us a great lesson. We are facing the new phase of online platforms, but if that has some problems like this case, maybe we have to think about the next step. I guess like the Mr. Schumann Gale just stated, maybe we have to think about the relationship with the humanity. There might be the next value. That's just my guess. All right.
பூவெல்லாம் மாலைகளாகும் ஓ ஜெயித்தால் நம் தோள்களில் ஆடும் செவ்வானம் வெக்கம் கொண்டது யாராலே சங்கீதம் மூங்கிலில் வந்தது யாராலே சுற்றும் பூமியில் இன்பம் கொட்டி கிடக்கிறது நம்மை அழைக்கிறது பூவெல்லாம் மாலைகளாகும் ஜீத்தால் நம் தோள்களில் ஆடும் தூரம் இல்லை வங்கக்கடல் ஆழம் இல்லை நம்பிக்கை வைப்போம் இந்த வாழ்விலே சூரியனை வட்டம் இட்டு தன்னை தானே சுற்றும் பூமி நம்மை சுற்றி வருமே அந்த வானிலே புது சந்தோஷம் எங்கே புது சங்கீதம் எங்கே அது நம்பிக்கை
You are watching SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021 on CPBC, YouTube, both in English and in Korean. How was the music video? Indian traditional dance looks very joyful. The music video produced by Father Stefan Sorufan from India, titled Ask All the Flowers. Ask All the Flowers. Father Sorufan shows special attention to children and youth. He has been giving seminars and talks on mainstream media and new media for school children and youth group. Certainly when people listen to its lyrics and the soothing musics, we become very spirited. And also, we are ready to move on confidentiality. And also, he presented the concept and song in a freestyle format because he thinks that will be appealing for all types of audiences. It's very thoughtful. Thank you. And let's move on to section 5. Section 5 will address international cooperations. I will invite one last special presenter to the studio, Mr. Romulus Lee, the Chief of Content Headquarters of the CPBC in South Korea. Mr. Lee will talk about the co-production program proposal.
Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, Lisa. Yes. SIGNIS members and everyone watching this broadcast, thank you for being with us. And thanks to everyone who has presented with passion over the past 3 days. In response to this difficult time, thank you for telling us the situation in each country and for speaking about our connection to mission and the Catholic spirit. Listening to the presentations, I became convinced that we were partners working together toward one goal. As Cardinal Tagle said on the first day, we must meet closer to this moment than before through the new opportunity that have been given us. Now, I think we just need to build a bridge. CPBC is very grateful to SIGNIS Asia for inviting us to co-host and produce this valuable event. On this occasion, we pledge to cooperate and communicate with those who spread the gospel all over the world. Pope Francis quotes a Gospel of John in the message of His Holiness for the 2021 World Communication Day. Come and see. He emphasized that we should meet and communicate exactly where people are. We learn in detail what is happening around the world through the development of communication networks and various platforms. And we firmly believe it is true as it is said. The facts are taken unfiltered, ignored distortions and errors caused by the nature of the media, whether it is ill-intentioned or unintentional. It can also convey distortion and errors to others. In his speech, the Pope points out that in communications, nothing can ever completely replace seeing things in person, noting that disciples who accepted Jesus' invitation and did come and see made the gospel widespread in the world. This message gives us a strong enlightenment now. We felt that the world was intertwined with a common destiny as we looked helplessly at the COVID-19 pandemic. We realized that we have no choice but to influence each other and reflected on ourselves. We also realized that the disconnection of international exchanges made our lives poor and difficult. Currently, we are seeing a number of situations, including human rights violations, corruption, and destructions of God's creative work, taking place somewhere far away. Through reports, but it is not easy to see them in person. It is difficult to check by the sending a correspondent or taking the camera directly to the field. It is hard to feel how much pain it is just by listening to foreign media saying that many people are oppressed and killed every day in Myanmar, and that many countries, including India, are suffering from COVID-19. There will be no disagreement that seeing and communicating in person is the most accurate and best way is convey meaning. Now, I would like to make a suggestion as a result of the 3-day conversation on the subject, are we connected? Do we connect around? Through this conference, we confirmed that we are connected to each other, heading for the same purpose. Now, we have to connect around us. My suggestion is an attempt to confirm our solidarity and community by sharing the story that we have turned our eyes to the local field. SIGNIS Asia TV members, let's gather the stories we met in each country. I have no photos of others. I'm sorry. Through this work, we will be able to create contents that can understand and talk about each other's lives and beliefs and harmonize with each other. It won't be easy, but I hope we don't get greedy and achieve what we can. My temporary title is Here and Now Asia. Of course, we can decide on a better title together. We can share and talk about the following topics, for examples. Wisdom to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic we face. The church holding the hand of the isolated. Approach of each country to implement Laudato Si. Sharing vaccines constantly emphasized by the Pope. Prayer movement being attempted all over the world, and introduce and share Catholic culture in each country, and so on. Our solidarity will be gathered and accumulated, and we will be able to hold various events together in the future. A good example would be a marathon rosary prayer led by the Pontifical Council for the Promotion of the New Evangelization, held at 30 Marian shrines around the world in May. Until we get used to this, we can first produce a program in July. After that, we can produce it once a month. Like this conference, CPBC is become a broadcasting station and connected to Zoom and broadcast on TV and YouTube, and it can be released through your own channels. When we get used to our collaboration, various countries can take turns in the roles. Based on this project, I hope that the Asian Catholic TV network will be strongly connected later. First of all, the members of SIGNIS Asia TV who want to participate would like to form a planning team, select a topic, and produce a program together. Of course, we need a follow-up discussion on this proposal, but if you agree, we will form a planning team by the end of May. In June, each country will produce a short video related to the theme. And in July, we will make our first program. Of course, the default language is English. Please participate in this project from various countries and let us know your intention to join through SIGNIS Asia TV members. On behalf of CPBC, I would like to thank everyone who participated in this conference for 3 days. Special thanks to Francis Kim and Anna Liu and SATV members. And I want to thank our CPBC staffs for staying up late working on this meaningful scene. Thank you for listening to my presentation with patience. Now I have to wrap up the result of the competition. It's a very difficult task because it's such a fierce competition. But peace be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romulus Lee. It was a great speech and great suggestion, especially your new suggestion, the co-production program proposal. It sounds a very promising vision, yes. Especially vision to raise the global attention and global cooperation through the co-production. And also that is the first step to practice the connectivity. And before that, he has been doing the most important job for this conference. He is a jury for this competition. So he will announce the winner later on. So stay on.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, in fact, as Mr. Lee stated, the value, the beauty of the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021, the value of this conference is this initiated a cooperation in many ways. First of all, between the layered associations and cooperation of each country across the region and across the world, and also between media, TV network, and SIGNIS. So this is the beginning of our cooperation all over the world. So thank you for joining all to join this project. With these presentations over, we will have an open discussion. Mr. Augustine Antuvan, the media consultant and media and communication advisor from Singapore, will moderate the discussion with 4 presenters. Mr. Antuvan is also a judge for this competition. So today we had 4 presenters. First of all, Mr. Asha Jabaid from Pakistan, and Mr. Paulo Antonio Barbara Benediones from the Philippines, and Mr. Suman Gail from Nepal, and Mr. Romulus Lee from Korea that just finished presentation. And also I would like to suggest to invite Mr. Francis Seungwol Kim, the president of SIGNIS Korea. It'll be great for him to join the discussion. I'll pass on the stage to the Francis Kim and also our moderator, Mr. Antuvan.
All right, Anna, can you hear me? First of all, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, so listen carefully, everybody, because we have just a few minutes and we have still a few important items, including, of course, the results of the competition We are held in suspense and we are waiting for Romulus to announce it. But here are my questions for the 4 people. First, Francis in Korea. Francis, I will give you the question first and then I'll give you time to respond. What is the one project you would like to see carried on and continued in the next year in 2022, right? Francis, think about that. I will come to you. Next, to our friend Asha from Pakistan. What is the one area for international cooperation that SIGNIS members can help in terms of education? That is for you, Asha, in Pakistan. For Philippines, Paulo, I see you're with us. I can see you in your studio. Paulo, thank you also for your sharing earlier. Again, similar to Francis, what is the one thing you love the most, despite the challenges of reaching your people in your country, the Philippines, that you want to build on for the next year? Because it's a large archipelagic country, thousands of islands, and there are still many people who have difficulties accessing electricity, much less internet. And for our friend Suman from Nepal, thank you for your sharing. We listened to it as carefully as we can. What immediate project will you work on in Nepal as soon as you get the chance? So 4 people, 4 different questions. I would like to come to Francis, and please listen carefully. Each of you only has 1 minute. You have to be very sharp and focused in your reply. Yes, Francis, otherwise Anna is going to cut me, and I want to make sure you, Philippines, Nepal, and everybody gets a chance to respond. Francis, go ahead, Francis.
Thank you. Wonderful question. For actually, I prepared my impression on this conference. Anyway, first response to your question. In this pandemic situation, we cannot but focus on a virtual activity such as the online conference like this. And please let me allow to express my impression on this conference as the chairperson of SIGNIS Asia TV desk. Actually, I'm very happy because I can finally be relieved of my burden starting today. So thank you so much. And, so I'd like to express my deep gratitude to the SIGNIS members and the SIGNIS Asia board members, presenters, speakers, and juries, and the Secretariat, especially core team members, Father Lalu, Bernard, and Antonio. Thanks a million. Actually, I focus on this conference 2 things. One is the collaboration. This conference was done through the joint efforts of SIGNIS and the CPBC. The other is the mixed media conference. Through this conference, this conference was aired via Zoom and YouTube, and it will be aired through CPBC channel soon after. These days, one of the trends is the collaboration and convergence. We did both of them in this conference. So I hope that this conference would be a model of the SIGNIS activity in the future, and I hope that this accomplishment will be a good resource of the SIGNIS Korea to prepare for the SIGNIS World Congress. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the preparation of SIGNIS World Congress. Thank you.
And yes, it's a good place to stop, exactly 1 minute. Thank you, Francis, for your passion and your devotion. Next to the Philippines, and let's hear from Paulo. You heard my question. 1 minute, please. Go ahead, Paulo.
Hi, thank you for the question. So yes, there are many challenges with our project, but what I love about it, despite all the challenges, is you see how the private sector and government work together in what we call in the Philippines bayanihan, which again is that spirit of community, that spirit of solidarity, wherein you have all of these sectors come together, including the learners, the teachers, the parents, and they all come and see that this project is really worthwhile. And it's basically a legacy project. It's something that you do it once now, and it'll be, for the next 10, 20 years, it can last because of technology. So right now what we're doing is we're trying to capitalize on technology and how we can use it to even further disseminate the kind of information. So as you can see, we've laid the groundwork. And as you lay the groundwork, you now have communication lines to all of the learners, especially. And then that's where you can start putting in the values in all of the lessons, so that as they watch, as they learn and their knowledge increases, their value system also is strengthened with that foundation. And that's really what kept us going despite all of the many, many challenges, from the financial challenges, logistical challenges, testing every single time. We have to tape the teachers in a bubble. We churn out the episodes as fast as we can because the learners have to be able to benefit from all of it.
All right, thank you so much, Paolo. You did that. I'm so sorry I have to come in, but you did that in a minute, and I know we can have more, but I appreciate it very much, Paolo.
Thank you.
So one very quick question: yes or no? Are you convinced you can reach the poor and the vulnerable, even though electricity and internet remains a challenge in a large archipelagic country?
Oh, most definitely. We have something that we call the Last Mile Schools Project, wherein we can send the hard drives or thumb drives to these schools, and then there are donations of large television sets, and then that's how the students can learn.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. We'll pause there. Now let's go to Pakistan. Asher, 1 minute. Your answer, please.
Thank you very much, Augustine. Yeah, very important. And in our schools, the monthly fee is less than $30 a month to the maximum less than $100 US dollars. And at very low cost, we are providing students the education. And then the second thing is that living in a country where extremism is at its extreme, so it is very difficult for our Christian schools, especially for Christian teachers, to make their impact, to make their presence felt. One important thing in which SIGNIS TV or SIGNIS Asia or any other can help us, that we want to highlight the successes of our teachers, of our students. So if we could get any platform from where the teachers, they can come in, share their experiences. So, this will be a sort of motivation for them that they are getting a worldwide recognition. So this is my only request.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Asha, thank you so much. It's exactly 1 minute. I hear you, and I'm going to make a promise on this program. Don't give up. Keep that idea and keep working on it, because Romulus has invited us to work on a collaboration. So that success story, I love your optimism, must be documented, filmed, and I hope to see it broadcast through this regional Asia-wide cooperation project. Okay? Asha, don't give up. Stay on that, all right? And now, finally, to Nepal. 1 minute, Nepal. Over to you. Suman.
Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, since I have begun experience this new world of media production, thanks to CPBC and SIGNIS family, so I'll be more interested in doing this media production projects in future to foster my skills and knowledge regarding media production. That's all for me.
Okay, Suman, very good. And thank you for making it short, and you did it in 30 seconds. So make sure you keep to your promise, Suman. This whole thing is being recorded and the whole world is watching. But we are praying for you. We are praying for Asher as well, despite the difficult conditions that you are in. Thank you, Paolo, for being such an inspiration and talking about the private sector collaboration. And he doesn't seem worried about, electricity and internet and things like that. He's going to make this happen and push it all the way. And of course, Francis, collaboration. So very quickly, before I hand back to Anna, she's going to cut me off. think about this virtual collaborative approach. That's what Francis said. Think positive. Look at the example of what is happening in the Philippines and the video that Paulo showed us. Remember the appeal from Asha. He wants to get his success story out to the world so the teachers can see that it is worthwhile doing and that they are not alone in this world. And finally, from Suman, a young person who obviously represents our future, he wants to go deeper into this. Let us find ways to help him. And with that, I wish I could say more, but I must respect the time and hand it back to you, Hannah.
Great, great. I thanks all participants to join this discussion. But I give a bigger thanks to great Augustine because you did a great job to meet the time and by utilizing time wisely and very thoughtful consideration. Thank you so much. And also, as you all stated, the cooperation is a big initiated cooperation is another start for the connectivity. But actually, the pandemic limited our life, but it brought another solution, opportunity of a new environment for our life and religious life, pastoral ministry, regardless of distance. So I believe that this discussion is a meaningful opportunity to pursue future direction. Thank you so much to all. Now I would like to give a warm welcome to Father Joseph Anunchap from Thailand, the president of SIGNIS Asia, and also he is the host of the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021. Father Joseph will deliver a closing address.
Dear all, okay, we can start.
Yes. Maybe
Dear
after
all,
our big round of applause.
สวัสดีครับ Dear all participants, I am very happy to give my address to you here at the SIGNIS Asia TV Version Conference 2021 by SIGNIS Asia TV Desk. I am glad that you have chosen a very pertinent theme for your study, reflection, and sharing. Reaching over the pandemic, invitation to a new Catholic communication. This initiative started when SIGNIS Asia TV Deck, under the leadership of Mr. Kim, Mr. Francis Kim, united with the highly experienced and capable team of people to join force with SIGNIS Korea team, working hard together from the initial planning press up until today. Conference, which will soon come to an end. This seminar does not only enlighten, but it also is purpose that brings us media communicators in Asia together. For example, the professional, or those with much experience, or people interested in this field have shared the blessing of God to their many video clips to inspire each one of us. And despite the worsening world situation or the ever-increasing challenges globally, media has become a channel of hope. This is because we have not only used it on off our stand to broadcast the news or give information in our news production, but we also have created hope and built the bridge that is rooted on the foundation, love, and sharing to help us cope over this global crisis together. In his address at the FABC Office of Social Communication 55 Annual Bishop meeting during November 19 to 12, Kadinanchan Mungbo said, I wish to urge you to continue to help the church with your reflections and practice on how best we can make use of social communication for our mission. I am sure your study and reflection will help the world church, the church in Asia. And I believe that our meeting today share his same aspiration and to fulfill the request of our Holy Father Pope Francis on churches of Asia, together with churches all over the world. We will dedicate this month of May to Marathon Rosary to fight against this global pandemic, to ask for divine intercession for the pandemic's end, and for us to return to our normal life. 30 sacred prayers across the world were dedicated to lead the Rosary prayer and the offering of daily intention, which Vatican TV will broadcast at 6 p.m. every day. I believe that those who will do production or interested in the telecast would be able to explain on it. But more importantly, Pope Francis, our shepherd, recognize and give importance to how media will face the new Catholic communication. Hence, the most strongly conveys message overall of our communication channel are belief and faith. The core content in all of our communication were prayer by the church was primarily being made to God. Act of important 12, chapter 12 and 5. Giving you my best wish, and I hope that this SIGNIS Asia TV seminar will not terminate on closing day, but its value will continue on to SIGNIS World Congress 2022 in Korea. I hope so. When that day finalizes, the activity we do today will be the evidence for us to show the world that we, media profession from Asia, are ready to be a part of the big that join together love, sharing, and peace for everyone. May God bless you away. Father Joseph and Richard Shayade, the President of the Asia.
Thank you very much, Father Joseph. It seems that we are already finding many good solutions even throughout this conference. I'd like to give my deepest thanks to Father Joseph about your genuine contribution to SIGNIS Asia and also strong support to the SIGNIS Asia TV conference. Thank you so much again. Lastly, I would like to introduce honorably invite Archbishop Alfred Suerev, the Apostolic Nuncio to South Korea, for his closing remarks. Let's give a big round of applause.
Greetings from Seoul to all of you who have kindly participated in this conference from so many countries across so many different time zones. Let me start by thanking God for His blessings in giving us this opportunity and in guiding us over these last 3 days during this SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021. Since I was assigned to this Apostolic Nunciature here in Korea, it has been my custom to meet once or twice annually with a delegation of SIGNIS Korea. First of all, to review the work done over the previous year under the subsidy of the Vatican, and other times to acquaint myself with their plans and proposals for the following year. During one of these meetings, I was delighted to learn that the SIGNIS World Congress 2022 was being planned to be held here in Seoul. I welcome this initiative wholeheartedly and pray for its success. This must entail a lot of hard work, but I am certain that your efforts will contribute greatly towards the successful outcome of the conference. I was also pleased about the ambitious choice of the theme for this conference, bridging over the pandemic, invitation to new Catholic communication, which follows in the wake of and is faithful to the Holy Father's message during the 2020 Catholic Media Conference. On that occasion, the Pope said, "We need media capable of building bridges, defending life, and breaking down walls, visible and invisible, that prevent sincere dialogue and fruitful communication between individuals and communities." The Pope has always emphasized the need to build bridges, to reach out for and embrace those socially marginalized and the most vulnerable. This gains more importance during such times as these that we are going through, where countries are building invisible walls by breaking physical contacts, and where developed countries are showing reluctance to share life-saving vaccines with poorer ones. This, without realizing that those surrounding themselves with barriers will themselves be isolated within them. The Holy Father himself reminds us that no one is saved alone. So let us break down the walls and build bridges instead. In this year's Easter message, the Roman Pontiff continued to emphasize the importance of vaccinations in the poorest countries. He said, "Everyone, especially the most vulnerable among us, requires assistance and has the right to have access to necessary care." This is even more evident in these times when all of us are called to combat the pandemic. TV producers and YouTube content creators, for example, can play an important role. Through their respective media, they can reach a global audience and share with them the needs of vulnerable persons and speak on their behalf. It is another form of breaking walls and another reason why the subject of this conference is so topical in these times of the pandemic. During the last 3 days, 13 participants have shared their valuable experiences and knowledge with us. We also had the pleasure to listen to the addresses of 3 cardinals, who each gave us their different perspectives. Cardinal Andrew Yom told us that communication is a manifestation of love. Indeed, to put it in another way, we can call clearly, hurdle the communication chasm existing between peoples and whole communities through love. We also heard the valuable first-hand message of Cardinal Tagle, the prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples at the Vatican, himself a COVID-19 virus victim. And finally, Cardinal Maung Bo, hailing from Myanmar, lent us the opportunity to pray together with him for peace in Myanmar. These insights give us hope and perseverance in coping with difficult challenges that life throws at us, especially during this pandemic. So to conclude my intervention, I have been informed that this conference has been aired on YouTube and Zoom, and that an edited version will also be shown on the CPBC TV channel. This is putting into practice what has been discussed during this conference. And here, I would like to congratulate you all on the success of this wonderful experience. Blessings to all of you participants, those following these proceedings, and all the staff who have made this conference possible. Thank you for your kind attention.
I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Archbishop Suerep's inspiring message and his tremendous support to Korean Catholic community. Now, finally, it is time to announce the winner of the competition. Throughout the 3 days of conference, we had 12 presentations from 11 countries, and 6 presentations, excluding special presentations, were judged. 3 juries tried to fairly evaluate them based on the 4 criteria I've explained several times: creativity, originality, and message contents, and technical skill and presentation. And we have 3 juries, Mr. Agustin Antuvan, and Mr. Romulus Lee, and Ms. Liza Bajan, 3 juries. I guess they found it difficult to choose only one. Even for me, I think every presentation was wonderful. They delivered very impactful messages. So they might have difficulty to choose only one winner, but at last, maybe we'd better listen to jury's opinion, how they thought about from the presentations. Let me pass over the mic to Mr. Agustin Antuban.
Well, let me just say this, Anna, very quickly. It was very difficult. All 3 jury members entered our scores into a spreadsheet, and the formula basically computed it. But I want to just leave all 6 presenters with this thought. Please think about seriously what you're going to do next year. Which of these ideas can really become something that you can grow, which is why if you are the CEO, you should change your title to CVO, Chief Visionary Officer, as in V, visionary, and see what is it that's really going to work, because all the 3 speeches from the cardinals emphasize one point. As a judge, we looked at which is the one that is truly connecting with the people and those that are way out there, the poor and the marginalized. That presentation receives the prize. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's hear from By the way, I like the CBO. I like that very much. I practice that too. And let's hear from Ms. Lisa Bazan. And again, I thank you. You're a great keynote speech today, by the way. And let's hear about your thoughts.
Well, in listening to all of the presentations, the one thing that came home to me, and even also in my preparation for my presentation, is that so often we are so busy working, that we do not always stop to review what we have done. And this gave us a real opportunity to present our work, to stop and reflect on what we have done, and to be able to share it with others, because so often we do not congratulate ourselves enough for the hard work that we do. So I think this was a great opportunity for everybody to be able to step back from their work and to see what they have accomplished. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I think that will be a great message to all participants, regardless who will be the last winner. Oh, see, I'm so nervous. I'm not a competitor, but still. But let's keep in mind, let's be a CBO. All right, last, there will be an announcement coming soon. So I'd like to invite Mr. Romulus Lee, one of the jury, for the announcement, and also Mr. Francis Kim, the president of the SIGNIS Asia, on behalf of the host, the president of the SIGNIS Asia, that he will award the prize. Okay. Guess what, dear audience, think about that. If the last person will be the same person that you chose. All right. Guess what?
Result on my hand.
Yeah, but your hands are not shaking.
Yeah.
All right, so there will be an announcement of the final winner.
Yes. The winner is SIGNIS. The winner is SIGNIS Philippines, Paulo Antonio.
Congratulations. Where are you? Where are you? Congratulations. Yes, on behalf of the president of the SIGNIS Asia, Mr. Francis Kim, and the president of the SIGNIS Korea will award the prize. It's a very beautiful trophy. This will be given to today's winner, Mr.
Hello.
Paulo Antonio Barba Vidiones from the Philippines. I will read SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021. Mr. Paulo Antonio Barba Vidiones from the Philippines, grand prize winner for outstanding thematic presentation during the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021, May 14th, 2021. Father Joseph Anucha, President of the SIGNIS Asia. Congratulations. This will be given across the land from Korea to the Philippines. And also,
thank you so much.
And also, another prize, $5 of US dollars in cash will be given to the winner. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
$500 of US dollars. May I ask you what you're gonna do with that prize?
Well, first, I'd like to thank the jury and SIGNIS Asia, and of course, SIGNIS Philippines. Thank you so much for convincing me to be part of this wonderful conference. My hat's off to everyone who organized this. Thank you so much for spreading positivity and just a lot of good vibes in this time of COVID-19. To all of the other presenters, to my co-presenters, thank you so much for inspiring me. Lisa, I was really inspired by the evolution of how you turned from VHS to hard drives, and then you just evolved into a full multimedia organization, spreading the good word, spreading the gospel, and it's just so inspiring. You're asking me what I want to do with the $500. We have been very, very blessed with this project, and just really, I think it's an opportunity for me to really pay it forward. So I'd like to give the $500 to Asher. And Asher, let's stay in touch. I want to know what you're going to do with it, and how you can just continue doing the good work that you're doing over there. I'd like to greet everyone in Pakistan as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yes,
Sure,
stay in touch
sure.
for the for the next step. I congratulate you, and also I'd like to give the thanks and also support to all other participants. No matter which the participants receive the winner, become the winner, all contributions or hard work, those were the great value for this conference. Yes, with all participants pledge and with a strong mind to do the action. Lakindanum, the Secretary of the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021 Organizing Committee, will read the statement.
21 SIGNIS Asia TV Conference. Building Bridges, Reaching Faithful. We, the members of SIGNIS Asia TV Desk, drawn from 13 countries, Cambodia, Hong Kong, Nepal, India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Myanmar, Pakistan, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, gathered virtually by the Catholic Peace Broadcasting Corporation, or CPBC, in Korea from 12th to 14th May 2021 to discuss and deliberate on the theme, Bridging Over the Pandemic, Invitation to a New Catholic Communication. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from Philippines, Cardinal Charles Mongbo from Myanmar, and Cardinal Andrew Yung Sujong from Korea urged communicators to explore new and creative approaches as they fulfill their mission. SIGNIS Asia TV Desk, despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, embarked on a new first via special collaboration with the CPBC, incorporating a mixed media, Zoom, YouTube, and TV conference approach to enable Catholic professionals to become bridge builders. Hence, we resolved to find common ground with the people of Asia via networking and the production of TV and social media programs, and through this, feel an acute sense of interconnectedness as we become a channel of hope and courage. We resolved to keep ourselves flexible in interchanging times, advancing the use of media technologies, and utilize social media as a great tool for good and powerful messages, so that we can address issues of indifference in appropriate ways. We aim to use these bridges to reach the faithful, even in the poverty-stricken villages of Asia, where they struggle to access accurate information. We resolve to work towards a solution by committing to more cross-border co-productions that will continue to promote compassion, critical rethinking of human progress, a renewed solidarity, and a sustainable future. We resolve to accept it as our mission to work closely with Catholic organizations like CPBC to meet engage in enriched communication efforts that will continue to bridge the faith, however convenient or inconvenient the situation is.
That's it from the conference. How was the SIGNIS Asia TV conference 2021 for the past 3 days, where we remotely meet Asian Catholic community members and participants from around the world? For the past 3 days since May 12, many great speeches and presentations under the theme of the Bridge over the Pandemic, Invitation to a New Catholic Communication, inspired us. Putting it all into practice is another story. Now, our next step is to incorporate the message of the conference into our life. And this is certainly not the end, because we are all connected, and our efforts to reach out to others, regardless of any barriers and regions, won't stop. Although our daily life and religious life are still threatened by the COVID-19, the pandemic, I'm convinced that we can overcome this crisis as long as we continue our efforts through solidarity and unity, and to prepare a new future, as Cardinal Charles stated yesterday. As Pope Francis said, if there needs hope for tomorrow, let us be the first person to deliver that hope. Last but not least, I would like to deliver my heartfelt thanks to many people who joined this conference in many ways. First of all, I would like to express my deepest thanks to all participants who contributed great work and their valuable time for this conference with the incredible messages. Also, I appreciate all staff from CPBC and the SIGNIS Asia TV conference organizing committee members who have done tremendous job for making mixed media conference for the first time. More importantly, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who's kept watching this conference and showing your love and the great message with attention and interest. You may send this link of this conference to your friends and neighbors who couldn't join during the conference. Peace be with you. Thank you very much.